Close your eyes. Let the noise around you fall away, piece by piece, like dust slipping through an open hand. Let the room grow still. Let the hours soften, until you no longer feel the difference between this moment and the ones you've left behind. Now breathe, slowly, quietly, as if the world is listening for the first time. Because tonight, we enter the strange, luminous territory of Albert Camus, a thinker, a wanderer, a man of deserts and silence and rebellion, a man who saw the world not as it should be, but as it truly is. And instead of collapsing under that truth, he walked deeper into it, with his eyes open and his heart steady. Camus begins with a question so sharp it cuts through every illusion we cling to. If life has no ultimate meaning, how should we live? Not why we live, not what we were made for, but how we walk through a universe that does not speak back. To understand his answer, you must imagine a dawn in North Africa. The sea is cold, the sky is pale, the earth is silent and endless. A young Camus walks alone down an empty street in Algiers. Nothing guides him. No divine voice. No cosmic sign. No destiny waiting for him. Only the sun on the white walls, the dust above the road, and the sound of his own breath. From moments like these, Camus discovered the idea that shaped his life. The absurd. The absurd is not a mood, not a style, not an attitude. It is the confrontation between our hunger for meaning and the silent world that refuses to answer. We seek purpose. The world gives none. We seek clarity. The world remains mute. We seek justice. The world gives chance and chaos and cold, indifferent reality. This clash, this grinding tension between the human mind and the world it wakes up in, is the absurd. And Camus tells us that most people refuse to see it. Most people cover it with beliefs, promises, hope, or denial. But once you see the absurd, you cannot unsee it. It sits beside you, like a shadow that does not speak, yet never leaves. But here is the miracle of Camus. He refuses to let the absurd destroy him. He refuses to fall into despair, or nihilism, or emptiness. Instead, he says, if the universe offers no meaning, then we must create meaning. If life has no script, then we must write our own minds. If there is no higher purpose, then our freedom is absolute. The absurd does not imprison us. It frees us. It frees us from false promises, from illusions, from the weight of destiny, from the fear of disappointing some invisible judge. And that is why Camus says that life is worth living, not because it has meaning, but because we can give it meaning. Imagine standing on a cliff just before sunrise. The sea beneath you is cold and dark. The horizon is empty. The wind has no message for you. And in that silence, you understand. The universe does not care if you remain standing or fall into the waves. And in that same moment, a strange calm slides into your chest. Because if the universe is indifferent, then you are liberated from trying to impress it. You are free to choose your path without approval, without reward, without fear. That is the beginning of what Camus calls the absurd life. To explain it, he gives us a myth, a story older than philosophy itself. The story of Sisyphus, a man condemned by the gods to push a stone up a mountain, only to watch it roll back down every time, forever. No ending, no victory, no triumph. For most, this is a nightmare, a punishment, a symbol of futility. But for Camus, Sisyphus is a hero. Why? Because he sees the truth. He sees the futility. He sees the hopelessness. And still, he pushes. He pushes the stone. Not for heaven. Not for redemption. Not for reward. But because the struggle itself is enough to fill a human heart. Camus says, we must imagine Sisyphus happy. Not happy like a child with a toy. Not happy like a believer waiting for paradise. But happy in the pure, rebellious, human way. A happiness born from confronting reality and refusing to bow to it. That is Camus' rebellion. Not a rebellion of violence, or anger, or destruction, but a rebellion of consciousness. The rebellion of a person who knows the world is indifferent, yet chooses to live with intensity anyway, to love anyway, to create anyway, to fight anyway, to hope without illusions, to stand in the cold, silent emptiness of the universe, and whisper, I am still here. Camus believed that this rebellion is the only noble response to the absurd. Not surrender, not suicide, not blind faith, but a clear-eyed refusal to give up the flame of life. He calls this the revolt, a daily revolt, a conscious revolt, a revolt lived moment by moment, as we face the nothingness and answer it with our own fire. But Camus' philosophy is not only about resistance. It is also about presence. He wanted us to experience life in its rawness. Sunlight, salt, cold water, the sensation of breathing, the sound of footsteps on an empty road. He believed that beauty is not a luxury, but a necessity, because beauty anchors us to the world. In the absence of meaning, he wrote about the sea as if it were a friend, a companion, a space where the human soul could breathe without lying to itself. He believed that joy is a form of defiance, that to laugh, to love, to feel the sun, to drink cold air, To embrace a moment fully, even knowing it will vanish, is an act of rebellion against the absurd. Camus once said that the world we live in is lovely and pointless. And in that sentence is the entire logic of his philosophy. Life is not meaningful, but it is beautiful. And that beauty is enough to justify living. Camus believed that human beings make a mistake when they demand meaning from existence. Meaning isn't given. Meaning is built. To acknowledge the darkness, but still seek the sun. This is the rebellion of being human. Now, open your eyes, if you wish, or keep them close.